Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Seeker's Quest. I'm Radha, one of the co-hosts. I have Veda here with me and Charan here with me. Veda is a many things. I just helped Veda write his bio, and I was like, whoa, Veda's done a lot of things. He's like basically a big humanitarian. That's what I got out of your bio. I'm like, you've done so much for humanity and lessening people's suffering. It's very inspiring. So maybe we'll go with that. What do you think about the title humanitarian for you, Veda? Maybe I should have asked you before we went online.
I don't know. No one has ever called me that, so I'm not quite sure how to respond to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe we just let it marinate a little bit.
I've been told I'm a human, but I've never been told I was humanitarian.
No, I mean, all of your things. You do the food for life, you do the monk mode, you do the chitta cleanse, all these things just aimed at helping people for no reason other than just to help people and lessen people's suffering. It's very inspiring. But yes, and then we have Chaitanya Charan. Our spiritual scientist. I like that one. Are you good with spiritual scientists, Charan? You're on mute. Okay, Charan's in Vrindavan right now, a holy city in India. So he might be a little bit, his service might be a little bit questionable at times. But we'll do the best we can here.
Hare Krishna.
Hi. Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
And I'm Radha. I am a material. I've been quite a materialist most of my life. I have a nuclear engineering degree. I did that for a while, and now I do a lot of service and this podcast. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into our topic today. We're just going to talk, the three of us today, about what inspires us about the Bhagavad-gita, which is the text that we're basing a lot of the wisdom from this podcast on. We all have different experiences with it, and we're all at different places in it. I know Chaitanya Charan as well. Both of you guys have been practicing it for decades, studying it for decades. I'm fairly new, so but I've been experimenting a lot with it and had a lot of success in my life in it, in lots of different areas. So we thought we'd all just three come together and share what inspires us and some of those experiences. Are you guys on board for that today? Can you guys hear me? Veda, Charan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you. Okay. Okay, great. Well, maybe I'll just start then. Oh, actually, Brittany just defined humanitarian for us on the board here. She said, concerned with or seeking to promote human welfare. That seems on par, she says. So we got one vote. We got one yes for humanitarian.
Thank you, Brittany.
So, yeah, I'll go ahead and start with what inspires me about the Bhagavad-gita, if you guys don't mind.
Sure, please.
Okay. What I love about the Bhagavad-gita, well, one of the things I love is that it really genuinely meets you where you're at and gives something to everybody wherever you're at. Like, for example, well, the ultimate goal of the Bhagavad-gita is to surrender to the will of the divine. But depending on where you're at, it gives you so much wisdom to upgrade your life wherever you are. So if you're not quite ready to do that yet, that's okay. it tells you how to upgrade your life wherever you are. And when I first came into spiritual life, I wasn't ready to do that. I was like, nope, nobody's my God. I was not ready for that kind of relationship. But that's okay. That's okay. And it tells you you can start anywhere and you can go anywhere. And when I first came in, I really appreciated the principle of non-attachment to the results of your work. And that was like the first thing I really experimented with. And I was working as an engineer that time. And I started working with that principle, just trying to be a decent person, just really kind of trying to do the right thing. I had a boss, I had agreements, I had responsibilities, trying to do the best I could according to those responsibilities and those agreements that I had made. And then letting go of the result, not getting too caught up in how I looked or how successful I was or what people thought, just, being clear on the agreements that I had made, where I was going, and doing my very best. And when I did that, it was like, I felt it cleared up space in my mind that I could focus more. I could access points of my intelligence that I couldn't before, because I was too caught up in the ego, too caught up in trying to be instead of being. And it really just like lifted the ceiling of my material life. I started advancing in my career pretty rapidly. I started getting a lot of good feedback. It was just like everything just started falling into place, and it gave me so much faith in this wisdom. So that was like my initial experience. That was kind of my entry point in. And I really appreciated that. It wasn't about like, you need to be like this or look like this or do. It was more like, this is where you are. Here's some things to upgrade your life. Try them on. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty substantial. So that was my initial experience. What do you think of that, Veda?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful that you're able to connect your life and to the teachings of the Bhagavad-gita. And that's what this Bhagavad-gita is all about. It's practical, applicable, relevant, and it has very meaningful answers to our daily questions in life. Yeah, for me, I always, in my life, I've always felt lost. From the age of 5, I'm always trying to figure out who am I, where am I going, what is this place? Always not feeling like I belong anywhere here. So this feeling of being lost was a continuous emotional companion that I had. And my intellect didn't have enough information or enough experience to quiet down my mind. So for me, Bhagavad-gita was also, when this verse, 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, there's a verse, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So it's a verse that I was like, this is cool. All I have to do is try to see the divine, try to see God in everything. And then I'm good. I will never feel this lost again. So that has been my inspiration. This one verse has been an inspiration in my life, how to see the divine in all beings, both animate and inanimate objects. And so I'm always trying to see how to be in a state of meditation, closed-eyed meditation, open-eyed meditation, to somehow to always find the divine even in the darkest spaces. So this is Bhagavad-gita for me, how it has really helped me and put me on a track. I know where I'm going with it. I don't know if
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's really inspiring. I love that, seeing God everywhere. Yeah. What do you think,
Thank you for
Charan?
sharing.
Can you enlighten us?
I don't know if I can enlighten anyone. I'm not far from enlightenment, but it's been enlightening to hear both of you. Yeah, I would say at different stages of my life, different verses from the Bhagavad-gita have spoken very directly and personally to me. So one of the verses that spoke to me in my early days, when I was a student in college, I had always been among the best students. But when I came to college, I was away from home. I started realizing I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing or what I should be doing. And then as I talk with other students, it was scary to think that I was lost. It was scarier to know that they all were also lost. We were all chasing grades and success, and we wanted to come to America to study higher. That was among our goals. So we're chasing it hard. But what was the point of it all ultimately? None of us had any idea. And what, in one sense, scared me the most was that we all were lost and they didn't care that they were lost, whereas I cared. And I felt there was something wrong with me because of which I cared. So it was that time, the Purva in the Bhagavad-gita 6th chapter, there's a section, that's one of my favorite sections. It talks about how spiritual awakening occurs in people. And what it says is, for some people, Purvabhyasena tenaiva riyate yavashopisaha. That by the past practice, there are some people, by past practice means by practice from one's past lives, some people just have questions that others don't have. Now, I'm not claiming here that I had some past practice. Whatever it was, none of us knows what really our past was. But if I look at the questions I had, or rather, everybody has questions, but the questions you could say that mattered to me. The questions that mattered to me, they didn't matter to others. And at that time, because these others were much more in majority, so I thought it probably indicates something was wrong with me. But then the Bhagavad-gita, the 6th chapter, 42nd, 43rd texts. So these texts basically, 43, 44 primarily. So these texts basically what they say is that there is this spiritual awakening. Now the word spiritual can mean many things, but the spiritual awakening that occurs, it occurs at some time in people's lives when they start asking questions about higher meaning. Now, what triggers that is a mystery. But that such questions had validity, that such questions actually, there was a reason for the questions. See, when there are questions, you could say, normally we think questions are forward seeking, questions lead to answers. But sometimes the questions themselves lead to questions. It's not so much what is the answer to this question, but why am I having this question? Why Why are others not having the question? So it is, I am lost. That was scary, as I said. Everyone is lost. That was scarier. But everyone else doesn't care and I do. So why is that? So the Gita helped me put my experience in proper context, in a philosophical context. And that was very striking for me. Okay, this is what is going on. So this is a spiritual urge. And we could say that we are all on a journey of
Oh, you just went out.
Multi-life journey.
Your sound just went out. Okay, got you. Multi-life journey.
So it's a multi-life journey of spiritual evolution. And within that journey, different places. Someone might be here, someone might be here, someone might be someone may see like Veda. If the words that he found from the Gita that spoke to him was to see God everywhere. That verse struck me after many years. But the idea is something more to life, and it's acceptable and valuable to think. That's what inspired me. And as I moved forward, like what you said, rather that at particular time in your life, the things that you are pursuing stopped having meaning. So it is, you could say, the realm of the rat race. And the rat race is where you are competing for things. And even you become the top rat. But even if you, but still, you don't never get out of the rat race. Even if you win the rat race, you still remain a rat. And then sometime or the other, we start questioning, what's the point of racing here? In one sense, nothing changes even after winning the rat race. So I would say that question was also indicative of a spiritual awakening. For many people, when they get that question, they think, okay, I just have to run the race faster. I have to maybe not just run the race faster, maybe I have to find another race to run. And in that way, they keep getting lost. So now, but when you let go, now when we talk about let go, what does it mean? Some people, they have the idea of letting go, they think it's giving up. But that's not at all what it is. It is actually going up. It is, letting go is, okay, there are these immediate concerns which have been occupying my mind, and I am not going to let them occupy my mind anymore. It's not that we are giving up, it's that we are going to think about bigger concerns. So it doesn't mean that we no longer care for the world. It's no longer that we don't function in the world. It's just that we have a higher vision, a higher purpose. So the Gita talks about this functioning with a higher purpose in 1830, where we see actions as closely related with their inbuilt results, not just their ultimate eventual results. Every action has an inbuilt result in it. When somebody starts drinking, then the inbuilt result is that the drinking desire will increase more and more. The external result may be that, okay, you get a hangover, you get a terrible hangover, you get a not so terrible hangover, get some liver disease, you don't get a liver disease. But now when we see that, okay, when I start asking bigger questions, the tendency to ask bigger questions grows. And that's how I grow. So those are just a few thoughts.
Yeah, I love what you said about the rat race. I guess I really relate to that. When you say the rat race, what happens is you get into the rat race and you get on top, and then you keep wanting to get on top, or you find other areas you said it much more eloquently than this, but what I heard is you find other areas to try to become on top for. And I feel like I did that. I did that first with education, like, okay, I'm going to get straight A's. I'm going to graduate at the top of my class. Okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to apply to all the scholarships. I'm going to get a full ride. Okay, I'm going to graduate at the top of my class in college. Okay, I'm going to get another degree. Okay, now I'm going to get into an advanced program. Okay, now I'm going to excel in my career. Okay, now I did all that. Now I'm going to start getting into my physical body. Now I'm going to train for an Ironman. Now, this was my life. And each time it was like, as I got higher, I just got more stressed. I got more like, okay, I got more pressure to be perfect or to excel or to get even higher. And it was so like this oppressive, like suffocating. and then I'd switch and I'd be like liberated for a minute. But then I'd do the same thing. The only thing that gave me any real relief was when I did it in spiritual life. And the higher that I got in spiritual life, the more bliss and connected and full of love I felt. Everything else was like, so I could totally relate to that.
Thank you for making that point. This is the Gita also talks about this. At one level, we could say in the material domain, there are two things we could say. One is possessions or accomplishments, achievements. And this, the Gita often devalues it. It says that, okay, don't be so elated when there is success. Don't be so dejected when there is failure, when there is profit, when there's... that it says stay equipoised. Don't get too excited about it. But at the same time, while this can very easily lead to apathy, we humans naturally seek something new. We want to explore, we want to experience. So that tendency is not at all neglected in the Gita, is not at all rejected or devalued in the Gita. In fact, it says this, if you consider there is ambition.
Ability and ambition, you're saying. You're going out a little bit, your voice, so I might just clarify a couple things you say as you write them.
So, ambition are both considered to be expressions or benedictions, blessings of divinity. So one of the verses in the Gita says that I am ability in human beings. And I am ambition that is not contrary to virtue, to ethics. And then there is adventure. And it says, Jayosmi Vavasayosmi, I am adventure. So if we consider, the point of the Gita is not to reject the human urge for doing things, but we do it more in a mood of contribution, more in a mood of service. So the same things which we have abilities, we don't deny or devalue them. We have ambitions, we don't demonize them. And that seeking of adventure, that is still very much there. Vedaji is on his retreats, he takes people on adventures, inner adventures, outer adventures. Where some of my relatives tell me that I travel across the world almost 9 months a year. So they say you lead quite an adventurous life. I never thought of it initially as adventurous, but yeah, for some people it might seem adventurous, and it's exciting. It's new, meeting new people and sharing my spirituality with them, understanding their spirituality. So there are, of course, different people who have different degrees of adventures. But so these things, which in one sense you could say make human life exciting, make human life livable, they are not denied. It's more a change of purpose, not just abandonment. Yeah. Go ahead, Vedaji.
I was thinking when we were talking about the rat race, and why is it called a rat race? Because there's so many other animals, and the poor rat is gets a flag for it, And I think that the human race is very unique, because I've noticed when human beings are trying to sought after material accomplishments, they are more ruthless than the rats. They pull each other down, they drag each other down, they try to get on top. And when the other one is down, they kick him in the face and they just keep going to the top. So somehow I feel like the human race is very unique, because I have never seen a rat race before in my life. And I've never seen a rat race where they actually pull everybody else down so they can get to the top. And when those who are down, they don't kick them in the face. But the human beings sometimes in material pursuits seem to be more vicious than the rat race. So I'm wondering if there's another race we can call,
In a way that you said you see God everywhere, you see God in rats now. Why demonize rat? Good
I
one.
thought you were going somewhere else with that, like rats are really low. Like, why do we call it the rat race? Because rats are such a low species as we see them. Like, we're kind of yuck with rats. But then you're like, oh, the poor rats.
No, that in India they have temples where they worship the rats, because it's considered to be a very important part of the ecosystem, and it's also considered to be a big contributor of divine plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, that this whole rat race, I mean, isn't it the human race is more vicious than the rat race? And I find every time I hear the struggles that some of the students are having, and when at their workplaces, and I'm like, oh my God, he says, I couldn't believe my friend would do this to me. He just ratted on me, and I got demoted, he got promoted, and and then eventually I got kicked out of the company because I just kept getting kicked around, and finally he's out and he's looking for another job. So it seems like it's being very kind to the humans to compare the human race to the rat race. Maybe I'm just.
Well, you could say the human race runs on a race that is worse than the rat race.
I think so. It seems like it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit spotty today, and there's a delay, but we can hear you.
Okay. So
Radha Priti worked in the corporate world, so she would have more experience.
At this point, we could call it. So actually, whatever word we use, the point is that there is an endless pursuit of things which just keeps us insatiated. I write in the Bhagavad-gita every day. The Gita in 5:22, it says that when we look for sensory pleasures, it only ends in trouble. It only ends in distress. And one reason why this distress is there is twofold. That these desires at one level, they are endless. When one desire ends, a dozen desires come up. I eat one good food and then I have a desire to eat either that same food more or some new food more. Watch one TV program and go on. Maybe after some time we get bored, but after some time again the desire comes back. So the desires are endless. And not only are they endless, they just keep coming and keep coming. And they over time make us powerless. Because they become so strong that it becomes difficult to say no to them. And that's where,
Addiction.
So the desires are endless, and they end up making us powerless. So
Cece, do you want to maybe turn on your camera and see if your connection is a little bit, maybe we could save some of your bandwidth, just because your audio is coming in and out a little bit. What you said here is sensory pleasure can lead to trouble because it becomes endless and powerless, and that's where we get caught in addiction. And you're correlating this to 522 in the Bhagavad-gita, right?
Yeah, right, very right. Are you able to hear me better now?
Yeah, let's try this.
Okay, are you able to hear me better now? Sorry about this.
Yes.
Okay. So let's move forward. And now I was thinking that about various Gita verses that we found helpful. Do you want to go one more round around, or should we just speak more about these verses? We have
Can we go one more? Can we go one more round around? Because I have one that I want to share, actually. Is that okay?
Please.
Yeah, one that's been resonating with me a lot. That resonates with me a lot, but over the past week or so, it's really resonating with me a lot. It's 922. Do one of you know the Sanskrit for 922 off the top of your head? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you both do. But I'll just read the translation so that I don't butcher it severely. It says, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And I love this one. Actually, I was working with it a lot last week because I'm a person that's like used to catching on to things pretty quickly. And I'm blessed to have a lot of skills. But one thing I'm not good at is visualization and design and really, yeah, that's pretty big actually. And I'm really so bad at it. It was actually the only B I received in college was Calc 3, which required us to look at a piece of paper and draw and write equations of the picture that we saw. And I was like, no way. All I saw was like lines on a page. It was just brutal. I remember it was so brutal. Anyway, so for the Seeker's Quest, we're getting a website up. And I had a couple people lined up to help me, but for various reasons, they didn't really pan out. And so at the final hour, it kind of came down to like, okay, if we're going to get this website up and start kind of moving forward, I might just have to do it, which gave me so much anxiety because it's like, again, this is like my kryptonite. It's like, and I also have no trust in myself in it either. I have no trust. One time I had this math teacher, my calculus teacher, who was so smart. He told me one time that he'd never met anybody with my mathematical aptitude and deficiency for visualization. He's like, I have no idea how you think. I've never seen anything like it before, because you're so bad at this, but you're so good at this. And I think because I trusted him so much, I like adopted that narrative. Like, okay, I'm so bad at this. I can't do this. Anyway, so I had to do this website, and I'm completely stressed out about it. And a few Bhagavad-gita verses are going through my mind. One is it 2:7? The I've lost all composure, my miserly weakness. I'm a disciple, surrender to you. Please instruct me. Basically, Arjuna is just like, Krishna, I'm too emotional right now. I don't know who I am or what I am. Please just tell me what to do. I love that one also. That one came up for me as well. Is the 2:7 the right? Is that what it is, Cece?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. So I started off with that one. That was a great one. Because, and that's the other thing that's really nice about service is like the three of us aren't doing this for any other reason than just to share this wisdom. Like, we're not making any money. We're not like for me anyway, like I did the whole career prestige, like I'm good with that. Like it's really just to serve our teachers and to serve you all. So it's, you get to the point, it's just like, okay, if God, if you want this to happen, just make it happen. And if not, then that's okay too. And that's how I felt last week. Like, and it was so purifying because I started meditating on this verse. You know, God will carry what I lack and preserve what I have. And it was just like, if you want this to happen. And what happened, it was just like one thing at a time. Like things just came into my life over the course of like 5 days that just kind of came in and out and facilitated this manifestation of this website. And I ended up getting so into it, like even things that I struggled with before, like, you know, things I use to fill myself with love when I'm feeling insecure or not loved, like food, I'm like not even thinking about. I'm so focused on this and I'm feeling so connected in it. And then what happened was I wanted to like spend more time reading Shastra. I wanted to chant more. It just increased my thirst for connection. Just by this level of like, all right, God, whatever you want, if you want this to happen. And I really felt the divine take over in that. And I even pushed through. It was even purifying for me because I pushed through this narrative of like, I can't do this. I'm so bad at this. I'm so like all this false ego. It's like, you know what? This isn't me. But whatever is supposed to happen will happen. So that's that verse. And you guys will see the website next week and you can see what you think. But this verse has been resonating with me a lot. I really love it, and I come back to it again and again, along with 2:7. So 9:22 and 2:7.
Yeah, I
What do
love
you
it.
guys think?
I would say that Radha is on fire.
I don't know about that, but your inspiration and blessings, probably.
I mean, just to hear both of you on the chat continuously going day in and day
Thank you
out.
for sharing that. Say that.
Veda, what were you saying?
I was just saying that it's so inspiring to see you and CC go off in the chat group, continuously checking with one another and messaging and discussing ideas and thoughts. And I simply observe and I'm like, wow. You know, every few minutes I have to look at the phone just to see what you two are talking about so I can keep myself up to speed. It's really nice. You know, for me, this verse, Neha Vikramanashosti, is the last verse of the 6th chapter, says that in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution. And for me, it's you know what, it's very easy for me to be discouraged. Used to be more before than now, but very easy to be discouraged because there's too much out there to distract me. And so it's discouraging sometimes, you know. And so this verse, that in this endeavor there is no loss, you know, I've been practicing bhakti for so long and I still feel like, why am I not feeling this taste? Why don't I have this steadiness? Why is my mind still trying to wander off here and there and all over the place? And this verse gives me solace that it's okay, Veda. Just keep trying. There's no loss. You don't have to start from scratch. Just keep running the marathon. Wherever you end up, wherever you stop, you just carry on from there. So it's something that keeps me going. Even if I, you know, slack or, you know, part of my practice is not having the same quality that I desire, then it's discouraging, but I just know that this verse gives me the impetus for continuity and steadiness and perseverance. So this is my verse to go to for perseverance and just keep pushing through for my spiritual pursuit in life. So it's something very similar. You're always thinking of how preserve what you have and give you what you lack. Inspires you because you're already inspired. You're always pushing to get things happen. And here I am just trying to hang there, So it's a verse that is very important to me. But I relate to your verse as well, your verse of inspiration.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yours is like there's no failure in devotional service, right? Like whatever step we take forward, however far we step, we're making progress. Even if we take one step forward and 3 steps back, we still are making progress, right?
Yeah, because in material world, it's the complete opposite. If you start building an airplane and you get halfway there, there's nothing to it. I mean, it's half done. You would have to do it all the way. It's all or nothing in the material world. So in the spiritual world, you can always come back and start off where you left off. So I like that,
It's not a rat race, that's for sure. What kind of race is it in the spiritual world?
I don't know. CC, is there a term for it? The spiritual race?
Well, one of the ways you could say is that, I like this, the material world, it's like we all are going for one position. Everybody wants to be the number 1 in class. Everybody wants to be the tennis champion. So there's one position and there is huge competition. And in one sense, we have to push others behind or push others aside to get to. In the spiritual circle, it's not one position. It's like we are here and every one of us has a position in the spiritual world, in the spiritual domain. We are parts of the divine. And there is a unique relationship which the divine has with each one of us. So in one sense, what we are doing is simply reclaiming our position. And
sound is just not, that what you're saying is such a beautiful point, but the sound quality is just really not good.
Okay.
You talk now?
What I'm saying is that we are
much better.
We are simply reclaiming our position. So there is a position for all of us, and that's why it's not a competition with someone else. There is our own position which we reclaim as we grow spiritually. And so there is definitely a race, and if I see you racing ahead, that inspires me also to race forward. But I don't have to push you aside, and you don't have to keep me behind. We both can inspire each other to move forward. And in one sense, often in material life also, people use the word abundance mentality. That there is enough for everyone. But that's just not the truth at the material domain. Now the Wimbledon Championship is going on. Hundreds of players participate. Only one is going to become the champion. You can't say there's abundance mentality. Everybody will become the champion. But there is, in the spiritual domain, there's truly that abundance mentality, because there is a place for everyone. And my moving toward my place does not take anything away from you and your place, and vice versa.
That's beautiful. This reminds me of like those like three-legged races we used to do at birthday parties, you know, where two people get together, they tie one of their legs together, and then it's like we're all in the three-legged race together, trying to get there together, instead of like everybody racing against each other. So in the material world, we're all racing against each other, but in spiritual world, we're like, the more that we can tie together and go together, the more likely we are to even get there, right?
Yeah, perfect.
That's beautiful. I like what you drew here. What do you think, Veda?
I love this. I love this statement. This concept is so beautiful because in the material world, this is not our home. And we all have a space in the spiritual world. And so when we try to claim home in the material world, you know, this place is too small because we're so vast. And so when we think of this beautiful concept of reclaiming our home in the spiritual world, the place is infinite. And so abundance is only a spiritual concept. It is because it's not available in the material world. Abundance of matter, yes, but ultimate abundance is only available in the spiritual world. So I really like the reclaiming our position concept. And we're not everybody has to fight for that one position. And that's why a spiritual journey is so sweet, because there is no competition, there is no comparison. You can go at your pace and you can support one another. And the more you lift people up, you go up with them. You know, it's so nice. Because it's your world, you have to lift. If you have to lift someone up, then you'll go down. Or you will not have a tendency to lift them up all the way. Just as they go up, you might want to let them go because you don't want them to get to where you're at, you know.
Yeah. This is also the difference I feel when you start to have like spiritual relationships, like relationships that are centered on really just trying to connect more to source together, as opposed to those like material relationships that you have that are more about like affirming your ego. And I like when you get into spiritual life, you start to shift more into having spiritual friendships, and as opposed to, again, just friends that you have fun with, or friends that endorse your particular narrative. And those relationships become so much more authentic and rewarding. I feel those spiritual relationships that are really centered on helping each other get higher and connect. Like I have this friend, this neighbor named Skopul, who lives close, and we hang out together and we just do these things. We just read, we sing, we do spirit things together. And in each other's presence, we both just feel so uplifted, to the point where if it's been like a week and we haven't seen each other, we're texting each other like, okay, when are we going to hang out again? Like we just like crave hanging out, because hanging out together makes us feel more connected. And it becomes such a strong bond, such a stronger bond than those friends that I call to complain or to get them to, you know, it's like a next level bond, and I really appreciate it. So you can see that play out like that.
Beautiful. I think it's time to hear more of CC.
I'm not sure whether but let's see, because we went in different directions. I would say that, say the first point which we discussed, was about finding meaning that just succeeding alone was not enough. And say meaning came through spirituality. And then the sense of being lost, that, so we discussed here about seeing divinity everywhere. So I would say that the whole theme was about how the Gita is a living book. It's a book that gives us examples, that gives us truths that we can not only apply in our life, but we can see them demonstrated in our life around us, that we can see transform our lives. So I talked about how for my questions raise questions about how things were working. And then that the Gita answered that about the spiritual awakening, how it happens. And then last part, we talked about this whole thing about detachment, dependence, and the non-competitive mentality. That was probably the follow-up of that point. That there can be, I had said about how ability, ambition, and adventure, all these are appreciated in the spiritual domain, but they all happen in a non-competitive way, because we don't have to seek somebody else's, take away somebody else's position. It is that there is a position for every one of us, and we just seem to have to through realize and reclaim that position for ourselves. So there is much in the Gita that we all can learn from, and we hope in the future sessions that we can continue sharing some of those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And while we're all here, I'd like to make a quick pitch. One, if you haven't checked out our Instagram, please check it out, Seeker's Quest 108. Please check it out and follow us. And then two, in the link in the bio, I have our YouTube page, which you can check out too. Most of you probably already have. And I also have a little donate. I'm going to just throw this out there. If everybody could donate $5 a month, it would help us out so much in paying for the infrastructure that we need to get this going, and hopefully eventually be able to do some marketing and reach out to more people. So if everybody could go to the Instagram and click that button in the bio and sign up for $5 a month, that would be really amazing and helpful to keep this going. And we'll keep going Tuesday, Thursday. We'll launch the website soon. You all can see it and let me know what you think. We can go to gallery view now. And if anybody has anything they'd like to share, any reflections. Does anybody have a reflection? You know who we haven't heard from? Sandra. Not to call you out. If you don't have a reflection, that's fine too. But I'd love to hear from you sometime.
Thank you for putting me on the spot. Hare Krishna, everyone. But right now, I'm just tending to my son, so I'm going to pass for today.
Sure. Thank you.
I'll just tell you a little bit about Sandra. She has a son who is autistic.
Oh, wow.
And, I'm sorry, Sandra, I'm giving too much information, but the loving, kind, compassionate.
That's fine, Prabhu. I don't mind you sharing it at all.
She's such a kind, compassionate, loving mother. It's incredible to watch. And the son is almost 30-something years old. And she's such kindly and diligently caring for him. And incredible mother. So thank you,
Wow.
Sandra.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
I also want to take the opportunity, since no one is sharing, I'd like to appreciate Radha, Priti, for being such a big instrument, at least in this whole adventure that we're venturing out into, this the Seeker's Quest. It seems like she is taking such a powerful lead in making sure that the beautiful wisdom of Srimad Bhagavad-gita and the deep realizations and detailed presentations by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. She is facilitating all of this. To me, I am extremely humbled by her dedication and service to the Seeker's Quest. And I generally just like to come here and enjoy both of their company and all of yours. So yes, I am so grateful to her. And if there's any way we can support her, let us support Radha Priti to flourish even more in this pursuit of bringing spiritual wisdom to everyone out there.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's your inspiration. Really.
She's a powerhouse. Yeah, I have difficulty keeping up with her energy. But yeah, it's a blessing to have her. Mm. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. And let's continue sharing. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.